Hello everyone and welcome to the show once again. It is a show that I done the first episode of during the week last week. It is of course my WWE Network category, a review by the category. WWE Network review by the category, and we're on episode 2 now if you're keeping track at home. And episode 1 featured the Vault series. The episode was the Vault, and in the Vault chapter we talked about the different sections of the Vault, including the Legends of Wrestling section, the Monday Nitro section, Clash of the Champions, Old School, WCCW, ECW, Tuesday Night Titans, and the likes of the Saturday Night's Main Event and Primetime Wrestling section. So in this episode, I'm going to talk about the in-ring section of the WWE Network. So many great sections on the network. Been watching it a lot this last couple of weeks because of the big UK and Ireland launch, and they have been adding a lot of content. I'd say there's been at least about 7-8 hours of content added every day to the network this last few weeks. And it's been brilliant that they're really adding loads of stuff all the time to the WWE Network, which is great for the low price that it is. If you're a fan, you have to, I don't know what would be wrong with anybody's mind that they wouldn't subscribe to this if they weren't a fan of wrestling, but everybody's different, I suppose. The in-ring section is our focus on tonight's show. It's a great section. It focuses very much on the current product. These are the different sections of it. I'm going to talk about each section as I mention them. There is 13 different sections to the in-ring part of the network. I don't know why they call it in-ring, because a lot of these sections don't really include in-ring stuff, but I suppose because the Vault focuses mainly on the past and other companies, the Originals section focuses on new programming that they're producing all the time for the network. The pay-per-views section is what it is. It's all every single pay-per-view in history, which is up to 200 3-hour pay-per-views, or maybe in some cases 4 hours, some cases 2 hours. Amazing amount of pay-per-views in that section. From WCW, WWE, WWF, ECW, which I'm sure later on down the line they'll have the AWA, WCCW pay-per-views, and the other pay-per-views coming from Canadian Stampede Wrestling, and the stuff from the Memphis Wrestling, and the different parts that are now owned by the Vince McMahon and the WWE's network, and they're going to add all this stuff eventually. The in-ring section now I'm going to get into. I can tell you we're going to cover a few of in my mind, some of the stuff that wouldn't be as big in the in-ring section, and some of the stuff that I wouldn't watch. I'd say out of all the sections, the in-ring part of the network is one that I wouldn't watch as much, because I'm not as big into the current product. But definitely now with the UK and Ireland launch of the network, it's really anything can happen. I was on the WWE Network forum earlier on today, and I'm a member of that forum online, and I would put up ideas and my opinions on different things and the way they should do things, the way they should change a few things, and I'm going to voice it now what I think. I think they should start making more current like new shows. They should start producing more new shows, because the series, of course, the Monday Night Wars is just finished. That is in, of course, the original section, but I think they should add in more stuff as well. I think they should do the the special events they had in the UK back in 91, 92, the UK Rampage 91, 92, 93. You remember they had of course Battle Royal in the Albert Hall back in 91 as well, and some great little UK pay-per-views, UK and Ireland only pay-per-views they'd done back in the day. I think they should be added to the network now that it's released in the UK and Ireland. I think they would be great additions to the WWE network. They should also put in there Global Warfare, which is another one that was done. I think it was a Canadian pay-per-view. They done one as well in Canada called the WWF Cavalcade. I think that was a Canadian one as well. But a few of these ones should be, I think, put on to the WWE Network. I think they should definitely go forward with putting into the Vault section. I think they need to put in Wrestling Challenge, episodes of Wrestling Challenge. They need to be quicker putting on the Primetime Wrestling section. Other stuff like WCW Saturday Night and WCW Main Event and stuff like that from back in the day. And definitely them Memphis tips have to be added on there along with the other stuff. But that will happen over time. They've done it. They're doing it at a great fast rate at the minute. So I think that's all good stuff. Okay, we're going to start talking about the category we're talking about today, which is the in-ring section of the WWE Network. And first of all, I'm going to talk about something that they've just added over the last few weeks. They've done it at Christmas time. They added this in, and it was appropriate to do it at Christmas time because of it being a Christmas main event. It's a special yearly main event that they do. They usually do it in Iraq, where the American troops American Army is based a lot of the time. And this one is called A Tribute to the Troops, this show. And they've added 3 of them to the network recently. They added in the 2005 Tribute to the Troops. They added the 2006 Tribute to the Troops. And they added the 2014 Tribute to the Troops, which of course was just done like in a normal show on Monday Night Raw. So yeah, it was there's been ones every year, but they've just added 3 of them into the network now. Nothing much really to talk about, just they do a show for all the audience consists of American Army troops and stuff, and they have interaction with the troops and stuff during the show, and it's a really American patriotic thing. You know, I wouldn't have a massive interest in this particular show, but it's cool for what it is. Now, another section to the network would be one that wouldn't be as big into it as a lot of the stuff, but SmackDown pre-show and backstage pass. Now, these have been added to the network up until June 2014, but because of budget cuts in the WWE, they don't do these anymore. But any of the ones that were done from the start of the network till June 2014 are up there. But as I say, pre-show and after-show, like backstage pass, they aren't really things that you would watch after, you know, the week after or whatever. Once that week is finished, there's no big interest in it unless you were doing a marathon, get ready for some big event and you were looking back at the rivalries or something. But I wouldn't be as big into them type of shows. But so SmackDown pre-show and backstage pass would kind of be in the same section to me as Tribute to the Troops. But then we look at the Raw pre-show and backstage pass, and Raw backstage pass kind of wasn't made much after November 2014, but which is kind of a shame because I think Monday Night Raw is always interesting. SmackDown is kind of like the second string show. Raw would be something you would look at, and you would look back at some of the stuff, some of the backstage stuff from Raw. It's a pity they've stopped making the backstage pass part of it, but the Raw pre-show is still on every week, and it's a very good show. They still do that every single week in wrestling, and it's always good fun. It was far more fun when Booker T was on the panel for it, but now of course they've changed a bit of the panel people for that. Wrestler Corey Graves, who was in NXT but is now injured, he has now been added to the panel for Raw pre-show. But it wouldn't be one of my favorite shows on there. A lot of these in-ring section shows are kind of hit or miss, but there's definitely I've talked about 4 or 5 of the 13 parts of the in-ring section, and a lot of the other ones now that I'm going to talk about are excellent additions to the network. And this one in particular is Slammy Awards, WWE Slammy Awards. And I didn't think we were going to put in a section especially for the Slammy Awards, but on the 8th of December this past year, or 2014 there, they had the 2014 Slammies. And in this section they have a lot of clips from past Slammy Awards, which is very good. A lot of the funny clips and stuff, I enjoy them. They also have a very interesting one, two very good Slammy shows. The 1987 Slammy Awards, which is a great addition to the WWE Network. They presented it very much like the Academy Awards, like the Oscars, and they had a lot of great footage of Hulk Hogan and Vince McMahon and stuff in the Slammies, and of course the likes of Coco Beware and the Macho Man Randy Savage and other big names from that era. It was a very good show to have on the network, the 1987 Slammies. And remember, everything is updated and in HD quality on the network as well, so it's not like going on YouTube and watching it where it's really bad quality. This is really cool stuff. The Slammies from 1994 also in this section. And of course that features remember Owen Hart became the King of Hearts when he won the 94 King of the Ring. Well, he then won the Slammy Awards. Remember, for the next few years then he took the two Slammy Awards to the ring with him for all his matches. Of course, it added to the gold from being the King of Hearts and everything. But yeah, that was cool. Owen, of course, died then in '99 from that really bad fall, of course, when he was coming out as the character the Blue Blazer. And that was another big milestone in wrestling. Well, the Slammy Awards section, very cool, and a lot of funny clips in that particular section of the in-ring part of the WWE Network. Also, another part of the network we haven't covered yet, and it definitely is it has the potential to be a very good section, but I would imagine if they do the older version of this show, it will be in the Vault section of the network. I'm talking about WWE Superstars, and that is a show that was on from the mid-80s, 1986, right through until 1997, and then it stopped. There was no more WWF Superstars, and then in 2008, the WWE Superstars was brought out again, and it was a new show. And it, of course, is exclusive to the WWE Network, and it's a great show indeed. Well, it's not really a great show anymore. It was a brilliant show back in the day. It was their premier show in the WWF, but nowadays it's just like their fourth or fifth string show, and it's really a highlight show along with maybe a couple of matches from the past week and stuff, and a few small undercard matches, like people at the very bottom of the undercard would fight on Superstars. So there you go. Not really an addition to the network that I would call brilliant, but it's good for the young fans, the little C Nation followers, the 10, 12-year-olds that are wearing their John Cena tops and their John Cena baseball caps and stuff, and they'll enjoy the Superstars, WWE Superstars probably, but fair play to them. But also, we're going to look now at a special section of this in-ring part of the network, WWE Network exclusive. It's just there because, of course, at the end of Monday Night Raw, one night, there was, of course, the Rusev-Sheamus match, which was a US title match on the 3rd of November, and they had that special match at the end of Raw just to get people watching the network, I think. And yeah, it was probably a good idea, good business idea to have that, but they've still got it as part of this in-ring section. But then, of course, also in the in-ring section, we have four more parts of the in-ring section to talk about now. The first being WWE NXT, and wow, what a great section NXT is. It showcases all the young talent from the WWE. The Performance Center in Florida, of course, is the place where the WWE talent gets ready for the in-ring stuff. A few years ago, you may recall the of course, farm show on the WWE for the WWE was FCW, which was, of course, Florida Championship Wrestling. Of course, William Regal was a big part of that, as well as for a while Jim Cornette was the guy in charge down there at Florida Championship Wrestling, and a few other big names. Dusty Rhodes was involved in it and stuff. Now Dusty Rhodes and likes a lot of ones are in the Performance Center now training the talent, and then they go on to NXT, and NXT was a great show. I really enjoy watching the odd episode of NXT, and a lot of them are being promoted to the main Raw or SmackDown cards now as well, which is cool. And they've even started doing a couple of NXT pay-per-views lately, which is cool. But yes, indeed, NXT, one of the ones that's worth a watch. And just as a bit of trivia for y'all, you may recall as well, back in the 90s, the places they used to farm the talent and kind of get the talent ready for the main WWF roster was OVW, Ohio Valley Wrestling, and then they had one, of course, called SMW, the Jim Cornette's Smoky Mountain Wrestling. They were the places they used to send the talent to get ready. Of course, to a lesser extent, Jerry the King Lawler's USWA used to do that as well back in the early 90s. But anyway, we're going to move on now to talk. NXT is definitely a great addition to the WWE Network and the in-ring section. Also, on the WWE Network's review by the category and the in-ring category, we're going to talk about WWE Main Event. And this show is proving to be a big hit with people. Remember back in the 80s and 90s, we talked about it on the Vault section of these reviews. You had, of course, Saturday night's Main Event, and of course that was brought back from 2006 to 2009. But now they're using the same colors for the design for the logo, and they're using the same kind of presentation to an extent, but more modern. But it's called simply WWE Main Event, and it's a weekly show now, and they usually have about 3 or 4 matches, big matches on it, maybe a couple of small matches, and it's a pretty cool show. And just this past week there has been news that it will be actually going back to the USA Network. It's been exclusive to the WWE Network for the past 6 to 8 months, but now there is news coming through that they may be putting that back on the WWE Network, or back on the USA Network, and probably on Sky Sports. So there you go. There's always changes and developments in the world of wrestling as well. But WWE Main Event it's not something I would watch every week, but it's something that is a part of the live stream on the WWE Network, and it's something you can, if you want that live vibe, there is a difference in watching. There's a different feeling in watching something that's live and watching something that's, looking back on something. So it's kind of cool to watch that live feed sometimes on the network, because it's, as well as being a big video vault and being a great library of stuff to watch anytime you want, on demand, video on demand library, it is of course a live streaming channel as well. So it's cool to watch that sometimes, just for the sheer coolness of watching a channel totally dedicated to what the things you love, like wrestling. So yeah, WWE Main Event, a great addition to the WWE Network if you're a modern day current product fan. For me personally, it wouldn't be one of my favorite sections. So that is another addition to the in-ring part of the WWE Network. Now we're going to finish this section of the reviews with probably the two premier parts of to a lot of people, the two premier parts to the actual network itself. But to me personally, I think it is just the two premier parts to this particular section of the network, because I'm more into the old school products, as we know. But this one is SmackDown. We're going to talk about SmackDown and the SmackDown Replays section. And as we know, SmackDown has been a staple in WWE since 1999. Mid 99, but May time in 1999, the pilot was made for SmackDown. And then the official first episode was made in September 1999. And what a show it has been over the years. As we know, SmackDown has ran for the last 15 years. There was a special 15th anniversary section on the network as well for SmackDown. So yeah, SmackDown Replays is probably one of my favorite parts of the network. Um, it's got episodes from all the years of SmackDown. If we look back at 1999, it has 12 episodes from 1999, so it has nearly every episode from the start of it in September right through till December of WWE SmackDown, or WWF SmackDown at the time. Of course, the match in the events from '99, it includes the Terminator, of course, Arnold Schwarzenegger coming in and being on SmackDown. Of course, also it has the episodes where Triple H and Austin, their rivalry, where Triple H gets bitten by the snake, and also it has the episode with The Rock and Mankind as they fight against, I think it was the New Age Outlaws, stuff like that. So SmackDown in '99 was very, very good, very a young show at that stage, and it was the follow-on stories from Monday Night Raw, which was Raw as War at the time, was really, really cool. Then 2000, SmackDown had a lot of great episodes. Only 6 are up from 2000, which is pretty poor at this stage. They've only put up 6 episodes from that year. But them episodes include a lot of great SmackDowns, including the one where Stone Cold Steve Austin makes the special appearance and he blows up the DX Express with the big digger thing, and that was really cool. Also, the episode with some cool episodes. One of the ones coming up, leading up to the Royal Rumble, on there as well, on the SmackDown one, or SmackDown from 2000. Then, as we look at 2001 SmackDowns, you have the 6 episodes from 2001 as well, and a lot of the episodes are the ones involving the Invasion storyline. Of course, the WCW Invasion, WCW ECW Alliance Invasion storyline, and another couple of episodes featuring Mick Foley as the Commissioner, and some great stuff with funny gimmicks with Stone Cold and Kurt Angle and Vince McMahon, and of course, as well as that, you have a couple of the episode from December 2001 with Booker T and Stone Cold fighting in the supermarket. That was very funny as well. That was, of course, part of the Invasion storyline. So yeah, SmackDown from 2001, cool stuff. Then from 2002, they have 5 episodes up at this stage. You know, not a great representation, but you know, the episodes they have put up at this stage are very, very big episodes. They're episodes that are epic when you look back at SmackDowns and stuff. So it's pretty good. The big match between Brock Lesnar and Hulk Hogan from August 2002 is up there on the network, which is cool. The episode where Hulk Hogan and Edge won the tag team titles on the 4th of July of 2002, Independence Day 2002, is on the network. Also, the big match between Kurt Angle and John Cena on John Cena's debut, which is massive when you think of the legacy John Cena has left. You know, he has really become a massive star over the last 12 years, 15 years. From June 2002, that was his first ever appearance on the network, on the WWE programming, where he actually went against Kurt Angle. And he said they were doing the interview segment, and he says about ruthless aggression, and that phrase was coined by John Cena on that occasion, and then that era became known as the ruthless aggression era, which of course was the era that came after the Attitude Era and before the current PG era. Of course, another episode with Triple H and Hulk Hogan was the episode that kind of was the precursor to the big match at Backlash between Hulk Hogan and Triple H, where Hulk Hogan wins the WWE Championship for the 6th time. That was a very cool episode to put up there. As well as that, another episode from March 2002 is the one with Hulk Hogan against the NWO after leaving the NWO. Remember, it was Hogan and The Rock at WrestleMania 18 in 2002. Then, of course, the NWO came in, and there was a whole thing going on, and they were fighting against Hogan and stuff on SmackDown after it, because of punishing him for leaving them to be a good guy again. So yeah, there's some great stuff from SmackDown in the 2002 section. SmackDown in 2003 was also a similar amount of shows up for 2003. Only 3 shows actually, and some good ones. The famous one where the Big Show and Brock Lesnar collapse the ring. They do a suplex off the top rope, and the ring collapses. That was a very good. That was a good episode and a classic moment, of course, from SmackDown 2003. Other great moments, of course, up on the other 2 episodes as well. From that, then of course 2004. We'll see if there's only 1 episode in 2004. 2000. No, none up yet from 2005. 2006, there's only 1 episode up yet, up at that stage. 2007, well, 2012 is the next one. They haven't put up anything for SmackDown from 2008, 2009, 2010 or 11 yet, which is unfortunate, but they're adding stuff all the time, I suppose, so that's something to look forward to. But 2012 on the network, every episode nearly of SmackDown in that year, and 2013 and 2014 is much the same. Every single episode of SmackDown, so it's great to have them all on the archive. Good stuff indeed. So SmackDown is a great addition to the WWE Network, in my opinion. Part of the in-ring section, and you wouldn't be without it because it's one of the premier shows, and it's not really the current product for a lot of it. It's more the older ones. So I love the older SmackDowns and that from back in the day. So cool to have them on demand, video on demand, hard to beat. Okay, we're going to go on to talking about Monday Night Raw now, and this is part of they could put the first 4 or 5 years of Raw on the Vault section really, because it's classic stuff that you go back and watch it. But Monday Night Raw, it was known as back in the early days, of course, and we'll have a look first of all at 1993's Raw. And of course, it's got every single episode of Monday Night Raw, 93, 94, and 95, and 96. Every single, well, not in 96 they have up until June, but they have every episode up until June 96 of Monday Night Raw from its inception in January 93. And some great stuff on Raw over the years, of course. Brilliant matches. I would say you could just go watch it. Unbelievable. But then up after June 93, or after June 96, they have only 2 episodes from 2007. From 2008, or from 98, sorry, they have 9 episodes from 1998. From 1999, they have 8 episodes, and that a lot of them are key episodes in the Attitude Era, so they're really good to have on there. And then as you go on, then in 2001 they have 3 episodes, but one of them episodes is of course the big merger between WCW and WWF, with McMahon buying WCW, and that whole episode is up there on, and of course episode 409 of Monday Night Raw. Very cool stuff. But yes indeed. Kurt Angle, the milk truck episode is up there as well. Good stuff there. And of course also the invasion thing, the whole invasion angle, the episode where they get the old Stone Cold back, and a very funny episode as well. Really cool having that invasion stuff on there as well. Also in the Raw replays section, no episodes up yet from 2000. Well, there is actually episodes, but they're on the 12 Days of Christmas part of the network, which is on the Vault section. There's something like 6 or 7 episodes of Raw and SmackDown from 2000, but they're not mentioned. They should be probably at this stage transferred into this section, but the administration part of the network should be working on that, folks. What are you doing? But anyway, from 2002 on Raw, the Raw replays, it includes the famous episode with Ric Flair versus Brock Lesnar. It also includes the famous episode with Ric Flair and Vince McMahon's the draft, of course, the draft picks, and when Raw became Raw and SmackDown, 2 different rosters. Remember that? was when they bought over when the WWF bought WCW. They decided to eventually make a draft and have the SmackDown roster and the Raw roster, and that was a pretty interesting concept. And it lasted about 8 or 9, maybe 10 years, but then they changed it again then and just had all one roster. Also from February 18th, 2002, that famous episode, the night after, or sorry, the month before WrestleMania 18, where Hulk Hogan and The Rock challenged each other for WrestleMania 18. That was very good, a very, very good episode. Then from 2003, there's nothing in no Raw episodes from 2003 or 2004. And then 2005, there is one episode. That was the episode where Monday Night Raw drafts John Cena from SmackDown. That was a very good one, where Cena appears on the highlight reel. Of course, Chris Jericho's talk show segment. And that episode is called Signed, Sealed, and Delivered, of course. 2006, only one episode as well. That was the famous Edge and Lita episode. From 2000, there's no, interestingly to note, there is no episodes from 2007, 2008, or 2009 on the WWE Network. So isn't it a good job? I've got the best of 2009 and 2008 on DVD set. Very interestingly as well. 2010 now on the WWE Network, that famous episode where the Nexus invades Raw. Of course, a great episode with Barrett and his gang invading Raw, and of course Wade Barrett and the gang, of course, they attacked John Cena in that episode. That was pretty cool, from June 7th, 2010. That's the only episode from 2010 on the network, though, which is a pity. Nothing from 2011 from the history of Raw, but everything then from 2012, 2013, and 2014, every single episode. So, really, really good stuff. The Raw replays, I think, would have to be one of the highlights of the entire WWE Network. That's my opinion. I think definitely has to be one of the highlights of the entire network. Well, we've been talking about the in-ring section of the WWE Network, folks. There is actually, one more part of this in-ring section, and that is the SmackDown 15th anniversary. And that one is where there's loads of different clips from the history of SmackDown in that. Couple of the actual shows in that as well, and that's very good. Includes the scenes with Daniel Bryan and AJ Lee, and also includes the Edge and Vicky Guerrero wedding. Also includes the return of The Rock from 2013, and the Roddy Piper, the return of Piper's Pit is on there, and the coach interviewing The Rock was very good as well. Also, you have of course, some amazing stuff. Remember the 9/11 episode? A couple of days after 9/11, the famous, the infamous, now you would call, of course, tragedy that happened in 2001. Remember, the WWE were the only company, the only entertainment company or sports company that aired a live show right after 9/11, a couple of days after 9/11, and they were the first American they were the first American company or American group to put on a show, and it was a very big moment. They got the go-ahead from all the authorities and the different things to put it on, and they done a tribute to 9/11 on the 13th of September 2001. That's on the network as well. Great stuff on the network. In the in-ring section, this has been, of course, the WWE Network review by the category, and this section, of course, the in-ring section. Hope you enjoyed the show, folks. It's been a great fun bringing it to you. I am loving the WWE Network. In my next episode, I'll be talking about the originals section, but this particular section is very, very cool. especially for the old episode of Monday Night Raw. I think if I had to pick a top 5 in my favorite categories of this one, I would probably, at number 5, I would put WWE Main Event. At number 4, I would put Raw Pre-Show, I think. At number 3, I would put WWE NXT. And at number 2, I would put SmackDown, the SmackDown replays, History of SmackDown. And at number 1, I would put the History of Monday Night Raw, of course, the Raw replays section. But hope you've enjoyed. I hope you've enjoyed this video. The WWE Networks, my WWE Network review by the category in-ring section. Coming up, the original section will be reviewed in a few days' time. I hope you enjoyed this one, folks. And as far as subscribing to the network, remember it is available in the UK and Ireland. In the UK it's €9.99 a month, and in Ireland it's €12.99 a month. I have of course been subscribing to the US version for a while now. Probably change over. I don't know. Maybe I won't. See what happens. And because it's all the same stuff anyway. There's no exclusives in each country or anything. It's all the same. But absolutely great stuff, bringing it to you, folks. I'm out of here. Got to catch a train to God knows where. Kyoster over and out.